It's showtime. What's up, historians? Welcome back. I am your host, Adam the Historian Ghost Hunter. Welcome back to Historically Haunted VODCAST Season 5. Can you believe it? We're whipping right through. Awesome. This show this week is sponsored by Transylvania Bar and Restaurant in Connecticut. The chick herself is from Romania. She even named her kid Vlad. That's pretty wild. So check her out. Before we bring on my guest real quick, I want to give a shout out to someone he actually worked with. If you guys haven't followed, you probably know who my guest is. If you haven't, someone who's in the same movie as him, Marlon Taylor, who I met this past year in Bangor, Maine, came up and he said this for the intro. Check it out.
Marlon Taylor here. If you guys don't know, it's young Mike Hanlon from the 1990 version of Stephen King's It. You guys are sitting at home, you don't know what to do, you ain't got nothing to do, you know what I recommend? Go check out Historically Haunted, the podcast. Adam begin. Have a good evening. Go.
Oh, that guy. That's so dope. So this other guy, Marlon's awesome. Thank you, Marlon. So my guest this week is someone I've been friends with on Facebook for a while. I've been following. He does some conventions. He's definitely a family dude out there in the UK doing his thing. But he goes out on a little bit. He was Henry Bowers in the original It. If you guys don't remember, he's the one who got kind of possessed by Pennywise. His father was a cop. He took his father out. He was the leader of the bad gang there in the brown leather jacket, the old school Fonzie looking dude. Jared Blanchard. I hope I pronounced that right. Blancard or Blanchard? It's probably Blanchard. He's from the United Kingdom. He's doing a bunch of meet and greets and conventions and stuff too. Hopefully this year. So follow him. Check it out. Without further ado, Stephen King Universe member, the man, the bad boy, Jared Blanchard. Did I say that right?
BLANCARD, my friend. BLANCARD.
Shit. What's up, guys? Checking in. Piper Paranormal from Virginia. What's up, Brandon? What's up, Jimmy from Connecticut? Rolls with Nesper. Jared, longtime fan, man. I've always liked the bad guys. Pleasure to meet you.
Thank you. Pleasure to meet you as well, my friend. Thank you very much for having me on your show.
I know it's late there, so we're gonna get right into it. It's like I think 10:30 at your time over there, so I don't want to definitely waste it. I appreciate you. I want to start with this, my friend. I want to start with not so much it, I guess, but just have you always been into movies? Have you always wanted to act? Has this been something you've always been about?
You know, how do I explain this? I think my passion for Stephen King preceded my interest in acting, to be honest with you. I think the first Stephen King novel that I got an opportunity to read was The Shining. And I was absolutely terrified by the book. I was young as well. And that started the cascade into, of course, his other. I mean, I think the first 5 novels are his greatest, obviously. So I'm speaking of Carrie, Salem's Lot, Dead Zone, The Shining. I'll include it in that as well. I'm biased, obviously, but yeah, no. I mean, acting was an escape for me. In school, I was a bit of a social misfit. I didn't know how to find or belong to any particular clique. And I found it easier to communicate with people from the safety of a stage to begin with.
Wow.
And then, yeah, I joined a theater company.
You're in the movie. You're like the leader of the gang.
Absolutely.
I mean? You're like, sorry to cut you off, but you're like, you know what I mean? That's like, it's almost the opposite in a way, but you play it so good.
Oh, I appreciate that, my friend. My father was a 50s greaser. He's featured on a record album back in Canada. He had the exact same hairstyle that I had in the film. He carried a switchblade. He was about the same height as me. So, I probably gathered inspiration from him, but also some of the other smaller type of antagonists from well-known films. I mean, I think Frank Booth from Blue Velvet, famously portrayed by Dennis Hopper, was also an inspiration. Again, a very small man, but fiercely intense and intimidating as well.
Wow, you are mind blowing. It's your knowledge. It's. I mean, I've talked to some actors and actresses, but you're right. Wow, dude, you're in this. I love it. Your knowledge of King. I mean, of course, I went to the same high school as him. So growing up in Maine, funny enough, the first horror movie I saw was The Shining. My old man went hunting. My mom was up watching it. I couldn't sleep. And I'm watching Care Bears and Ghostbusters and all that stuff, Rainbow Bright or whatever. And then I watched The Shining at 9 years old, and I'm like, huh? And that was it. Like, I guess you read it. You go either against it, like, I don't want that, or you go towards it. And you ran.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know the book terrified me. And then later on in life, obviously rereading the book, I've always felt that I've always enjoyed the Kubrick film. Obviously, there's probably no greater American filmmaker in history. But the fact of the matter is, I think that the book should be revisited, and I think it should be given sort of a limited series treatment, because there's so much missing from a 2-hour adaptation, I think.
Everybody says that when they read the book. My girlfriend literally has been reading it for about 3 months now. I'm like, she's in the sewer scene and all that stuff. She's already been past the part with you and everything. And I'm like, oh boy, that's one of the ones I haven't yet. I'm like, oh shit, the book itself. So so what got you into King, to go kind of back to that? Was it someone in your family go check this guy out, or you just stumbled?
No, I think back in the God, I'm betraying my age, but back in the 80s, the paperback books were often bound in very sort of lurid type covers, and the covers for the Stephen King novels back then were absolutely amazing. The artwork, they were the perfect gateway. They would entice any child into wanting to read between the covers. You don't get that anymore. Books aren't, literature isn't what it was back then. I mean, I still remember the cover for Christine. This extraordinary graphic. I remember it all. But yeah, I mean, extraordinary, very, very vivid covers that drew you into the material. And then fortunately, as you probably know as a fan, the payoff was extraordinary as well.
I'm not gonna lie. I went to a reading from his son Owen, the one that does Nosferatu and he did a reading in Bangor about 4 months ago, and I went. It was a free thing, probably about 100 people. It's very not even known, no fear, nothing. And I'm like, he's gonna show up, and sure as shit, in a Bangor jacket, King walks in with a crutch, and I about drool. I feel like a Beatles fan. I'm like, and everybody's just like, no big deal, and I'm like, Mr. King, I went to the same high school. Prudence Grant was my teacher, like your English teacher. He goes. I go, can I get a picture? He goes, not right now. And he looked at me, and that's a win. I got the side of his head, but that's some presence, man. So I'm not trying to make it about me, but that's because you told me yourself. You're like, oh, if you ever come to Maine, I would love to give you the tour. You need to see his house. You would love it.
Well, I've read his book on writing, and felt like I got a taste of his his childhood. So when you mentioned that you're from Bangor, Maine, I was immediately enticed and very interested in talking to you. Do you find that any of have you gone to any of the locations that you suspect might have inspired his work? I mean,
what's funny?
Like, yeah.
Well, not trying to brag. Well, see, I grew up in Lisbon, and then I moved up to Bangor, which is about 2 hours north. We're talking almost Canada, eh? You can taste some maple syrup.
Yeah.
And it's up there, and it's cold right now. It's negative. It was -5 this morning. It's like 8 degrees now. It's cold, but I do tours now, historically haunted tours. I'm trying to start something, and I go to the Storm Drain, which was the inspiration for Pennywise. Check it out. It's on Jackson Street, in the beginning of both It's Jackson Street, about half mile from his house. At the end of Jackson Street is the white standpipe that's superimposed in the new one. So I go to his house. I do that. I go to where he shot Storm of the Century. That's in Southport. I go to Thinner, where he shot parts of Thin with the Gypsy. That's in I can't think of the top of my head. I'm trying to think. It's named after an Irish place. Shoot, I can't think of the name. But I do that. I do tours. I go to his house. Of course, there's other things like other people have been whatever. But I tell you, I'm not trying to piggyback him. But at the same time, no one really does King stuff. And who does really? So I want to do a convention in Maine. There's filming sites, Storm of the Set. Like I said, what is the one? It's a graveyard shift. There's a big mill, 1822, the old woolen mill, still in progress. I went there, get a mug, and me, I'm a gabber, right? But it gets me in, and they go, come back. I go, shit, all right, I'll bring some people. And I'm a booking agent, and one of my clients is Stacy Johnson. She was Pennywise in the remake of It. Skarsgård was, but she was in the sewer scene. She paid me money, and I represent her. I got her coming to a convention. I get a percentage and everything. She's my guest next week. So you come to America, man, I'll hook you up. I know Thomas Patrick Gormley here runs conventions in Salem, Massachusetts, if you've ever been, Connecticut. We want to do a Stephen King thing next year. I'd love to have you down here. We'll pay your flight and hotel. We can talk about that later, but I would love to meet you in person, get you down here. And anyway, that's enough business talk. I want to talk fun stuff. So Jared, what do you listen to for tunes, brother? You a rocker? Rapper?
God, I had a feeling you're going to ask me this question.
Yeah, stump them.
I list my listening preferences are so wide and so varied that I think I'm revisiting Black Sabbath.
Oh.
I'm I go anywhere from traditional blues music all the way to there's a band recently that I discovered. They're called Goat, I believe. Don't know if you're familiar with them. Check them out on check them out on Spotify. They're quite interesting. I think they practice witchcraft, etc. But their music's quite appropriately witchy. But yeah, I run the gauntlet. I run the spectrum. I listen to everything and anything.
Oh, I can dig that, dude. That's right on. That's you and me are kind of the same. That's cool. I dig that. So what about for well, fuck that. Let's talk a little bit about you. You know I'm gonna ask you these questions. How'd you get the gig, man? Did you go apply for it, or they see you and go, you're perfect?
Yeah. Well, Vancouver's, I think the population currently stands at about 3 million. So it's not a tiny city, but in terms of its exposure to the entertainment industry, at the time it was very small. We had the occasional film come up. As I said, I was working with a theater company at the time. So I didn't have any expectations of auditioning for anything substantial or significant. But an agent spotted me at one of these very, very small theatrical performances, said she'd like to represent me. And then within a very, very brief period of time, she said, I've got something very exciting that I want you to audition for. And I said, oh, what? She said, a Stephen King film. Well, immediately, of course.
Of course. Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I didn't think I had any chance whatsoever in getting the role, but I did commit myself. I had, I think, a week to prepare. And I knew going in there that I was going to be smaller than anyone else auditioning for the role. I think I felt that they were going to go for the stereotypical kind of villain. So I thought I'm going to have to go in there with something different, and I'm going to have to commit to it fully. If I don't, I don't stand a chance.
Right.
And yeah, so a week later, I went in for the audition, and literally the casting director plucked me out of the room and said, "You're coming with me." And I didn't know what was going on. I thought perhaps he was kicking me out. Perhaps I'd made an ass of myself. And no, he brought me right to the producers, and it was lightning quick. It's like your life going from 0 to 100 in 60 seconds.
Wow, I bet. That's what I wanted to hear. That's what I knew it. But you got that swagger about you, dude. You could tell you're the leader of the fucking gang. I'm not gonna lie, I've always obviously watched it, but I watched a couple days ago knowing you're gonna come on. I wanted to brush up. And the way your stance is, it's like the other guys follow you in the movie as well. Like, I don't know if they meant to or just it's funny that you say that you weren't like that. You were like the outcast, and then you pick on this role of the fucking leader. Right. Flawless. Impressive.
Well, thank you. Well, I really appreciate that.
Your ass. It's impressive.
Thank you. Thank you very much. No, it as I said, it was, I can't quite describe the feeling that, we talk about degrees of separation. It felt obviously when you're reading the books, there are many degrees of separation. And then all of a sudden you take that quantum leap and you're right there at the doorstep. You're touching something that you've admired from afar for a very, very long time. And as I said, I think I've heard it said that if you're remembered for one role, you've had a successful career as an actor. And this is the one that comes up. I mean, I was a Ninja Turtle for a period of time. I've done, 50 other film and television projects, but this is the one that's.
You got to Google, you got a Wikipedia like IMDb thing. I did read that, but I didn't see the Ninja Turtle part.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that. That's cool. Oh, I've seen you stuck to like the horror mystery like type of genre, more or less. Yeah. But I mean, Ninja Turtle, that's pretty cool. Shit, I should have brushed up. I didn't even see that.
No, that's all right, my friend. It's all right, as I said. But yeah, I mean, if you remember for one role, and this is the role that I'm generally remembered for, and I'm ecstatic about it. And it's nice to revisit on occasion with people like yourself who are fans, but also your connection to King, living so close as you do to his community of origin is very, very exciting to me. As I said, I'm very big on atmosphere. I love living in the UK with my wife and son. I always tell people it's like a form of time travel every time I walk outside my door, because Leicester, where I live, was a former Roman enclave. So,
Hmm.
you want to talk about being surrounded by history. It's absolutely astounding.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's. I was going to ask you. It's funny. You kind of beat me. I was going to ask you about your family because I see that Fiona tags you in a lot of stuff, and I see the boy, and I see you guys had a great holidays, and that God bless. That's the biggest thing, family. But
Thank you.
I was going to ask you, like, what are your other interests besides this stuff? And it sounds like you're a historian of sorts, huh? You like that stuff?
Well, yeah. I mean, I generally walk. As a part of my job, I walk around the city a lot. So, I mean, I'll cover 10 to 12 miles a day on foot, and I take the greatest pleasure in it. I don't think Brits are, well, I shouldn't say that. There are a generation of Brits that are avid walkers, but the current generation don't like to walk. So I get to see, I know the city like the back of my hand. I'm probably more familiar with it than, lifelong inhabitants of the city. So
Wow.
it's
All
extraordinary.
like the shortcuts and all like the little get theirs and shit. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, well that brings me to another slice for you. I mean, you're not originally from there, then, aren't you? You don't sound like you are. You must be
Oh
American,
God, no.
right?
No, I'm Canadian, my friend. I'm from
Oh, you
Vancouver,
must be
British Columbia.
Montreal. You got the gig. I should have got that. I was saying you definitely don't sound like you're from the UK.
Yeah.
Um. Well, fucking. Well, so what's your favorite type of food over there that you didn't have in Canada, North America? It's got to be something snail or something.
No. Come on now. You got to know that in the UK, it's the one place you can get probably the meanest fish and chips you've ever experienced before. It's absolutely extraordinary.
Ooh. Okay.
Amazing.
That's good to know.
Amazing.
That actually sounds really good right now. Think of the munchies.
Yeah.
Okay. What about okay, this is always a fun one too. This usually gets people off guard, which I don't know why, but give me your favorite place that you've been and give me a bucket list place that you got to go. You can give me a couple if you want.
Okay.
Start off with favorite place you've ever been or a place you like to go to. Like, is it like Florida? Fucking, is it back to Montreal area?
I would say my favorite. I shot a movie in Charleston, South Carolina. It was a remake of a film called The Yearling. That again, Charleston, again, rich with history. It's where the Civil War began.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I don't know if you're familiar with the Antiques Roadshow, but one of the visitors came in with some slave tags that they found on a beach.
Whoa.
They went over to the, yeah. So absolutely extraordinary history and very, very beautiful region in the United States. Absolutely amazing.
I've been to like Virginia, like Radford and stuff. I've been to like a couple of places down there, and even Virginia, like the whole South Belt, Carolina and shit, Gettysburg, all that stuff. Slave tags. I've never heard. Wow, that's a whew. I don't know if I want to own those. Boy, that's a bad curse on them fucking things.
Absolutely. But no, yeah, as I said, rich in history, and again,
yeah,
I love regions that have a distinct sort of culture of their own. I like the feeling of when you're crossing the a county line that you're actually almost going into a different country.
Wow. So bucket list, is it like Transylvania, Hawaii?
It would definitely have to be
Bangor, Maine.
That would be one of them.
Salem. Have you been to Salem, Mass? You've been that area?
I have not, and actually, I'm glad that you brought that up. We've made friends with somebody on Facebook who's invited us to go to Salem, and that would be one of my bucket list places. Absolutely.
Not just witches, man. Pirates. The first National Guard started there. The first phone call, Alexander Graham Bell was there in Salem. I mean, not to mention, of course, the witches, but holy moly, Salem's Hawthorne Hotel. Yeah. Oh, dude.
Absolutely.
We got to get you to New England. We got to get you to the fucking coast. People love King. They love the actors. You would fucking but Virginia. Woo. Yes, Brandon checks in every week. Thank you for sharing. Brandon's been sharing the show.
Right on.
That's one of my clients too. Viper Paranormal. Appreciate you. We got to get you to New England. I know it's getting late over there, so I don't want to keep a lot of your time. I'll get another 10, 20 minutes out of you if you don't mind.
Not at all, my friend. Thank you.
No, I appreciate Jared, dude, immensely, because I'm like, oh shit, it's like a 6-hour difference. So I'm like, oh no. So
no worries, my friend. No worries.
Cool. So what do you and your family like to do in your spare time? If you don't mind me asking, you guys, like you said, do you just travel? Do you guys watch movies? Do you?
You know, I've got my wife and I. I'm very, very fortunate. We love each other's company, and there's no better time for me than spending time with my wife and son. Obviously, the only problem is that I'm probably the only. Well, my son will end up being a horror fan. He's already showing an inclination towards horror, but he's too young to be allowed to watch it with me. So when I watch horror films, I generally get up at the crack of dawn, and will have downloaded something, and that's when I get to indulge in my passion for horror, or in literature as well. But yeah, no, I mean, we do traveling mostly across the UK. There's, I think, honestly, what I've discovered is that the UK, again, which is comprised of Scotland, England, and Wales, is perhaps the most, I think personally, the most beautiful place in the world. And again, it's the inspiration for most ghost stories. It's the inspiration for most the most meaningful fantasy fiction. You think of Lord of the Rings. That where I live in Leicester, we're in an area called the Midlands, and that's what inspired Tolkien to write. His very famous
the
Hobbit.
Midlands, Middle Earth. You tell me. That's pretty cool.
Exactly. So when I walk outside my door, there's a road, probably a stone's throw from my house, called the old farm road. And if you walk down it at a certain time of day, say at sunset, you feel that same sense of wonder at the beauty of it.
I get goosebumps.
Yeah, it's absolutely extraordinary.
Well, it's beautiful, but it's chilling because how many souls have seen that? I mean, we talk 1600s in Salem. You're talking 1500s over there in UK and London and shit. We're talking
absolutely.
A lot of souls have passed through there, man. Wow.
Absolutely. One of my favorite things to do is to take an EVP and just go out, and literally probably a mile and a half from where I live is a graveyard that's hasn't seen many living people in a very, very long time. And I'll go out into the graveyard and just try to summon the dead, see if they have anything to say. I think the most chilling time I had is, again, I was completely alone, and these graves go back hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. The church itself was probably dating back to the 1400s.
Yeah, that's no shit. That's true. Look it up. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I asked if anyone wanted to speak, and this woman's voice came over the EVP and said, "Look behind you." And I looked behind me, and I thought I saw something. And that was the end of that session. Let me just put it that way. But anyway, that's the kind of enchantment I get to experience on a daily basis. So it's absolutely amazing. When I step outside my doors, I say it's like I'm walking back in time.
Oh my fucking God. No offense, but you're literally my best friend now. Not only are you like Stephen King and horror, but like you're into ghost hunting and reading and just, Jesus, where the fuck have you been all my life?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. Chilling in graveyards. Me too. I'll grab a joint because it's legal in Maine. I got a med card anyway. I died in a car accident for a little bit. If my mom died, I got hit in the head on collision. I came back. So ever since then, I've been a podcast host. And anyway, so I go to graveyard. I feel at home there. We don't got nothing compared to you. But I stopped in a little town in Maine called LaGrange, like the ZZ Top song. And there's this dude that says, so-and-so in the bomb squad died in action. This poor bastard died in the bomb squad action, and he's sitting in a grave in the middle of nowhere, population 300, side of the road, small. So I sat down, smoked a joint, said, "How you been?" Just right on, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's cool, dude. I dig that. I didn't even realize you were into like paranormal types. I mean, I did, but that's deep, man. Cool.
Thank you. I appreciate that. No, I mean, as I said, I forgot to mention this. I mean, I think a lot of what led to the deep dive into Stephen King and authors of his ilk was the fact that, I'd had a number of paranormal experiences as a child. And strangely, when my wife's originally from England, obviously, and when she came to visit with me and my family for the first time, she really got a sense of what I was talking about. I told her some of the stories, how I'd been ripped off the couch, how all sorts of stuff in this house.
Do tell. That's what the show's about. Do tell.
Sure. I remember it vividly. I was on the couch, lying on the couch watching television, and all of a sudden something grabbed my ankles with a vice grip, lifted them up, and I'm watching this almost as it was almost an out-of-body experience because I couldn't believe it was happening.
Right.
And it began to pull me off the couch. And at the other end of the room was an open door and complete and utter darkness. And something told me that if I allowed this thing to continue pulling me off the couch and toward the door, that something terrible was going to happen. So I said the quickest, set of prayers I've ever said in my entire life. And finally, the thing relented and dropped my legs. But yeah, I actually had to have somebody come in and do a bit of a cleansing because there was just untold things going on within that house.
Dude, I could spend another hour talking to you. Next time I do a show, I got to do a Saturday at noon. That way it's early for you. Would you come back on in the future if I can get Marlon to come on and give a little three-way?
Absolutely.
I would love to shoot the shit with you guys for another hour. Maybe we could talk more about the movie. Sorry, guys, for watching. I know you guys want to talk about the movie, but this guy's into other shit too, and I got to talk about that because everybody talks about it, and that's great. But you're way more than that. You're way more than one character. So, no offense, but that's okay. Wild.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that's followed you ish, or do you feel like you just have like you're open? I love your artwork, by the way. A lot of nice tattoos. I like that.
Oh, thank you, my friend. Thank you. Yeah. No, I mean, I'm perennially fascinated by the paranormal. As I said, I do feel like I'm in the home of that kind of activity. I mean, what I tended to do during the summer is I would jog in the dark here. There's no light. What's the word? There's no light pollution where I live. So when you go down a dark road, it's darker than you've ever experienced before. Though I'm assuming because of the nature of where you live that you've experienced real darkness as well, where you don't have that sort of distant light from any kind of city. And I went for a jog, and again, I can't. I'm sure you've experienced pitch dark before, but I was jogging, and I don't know how to explain this adequately, but the road itself is quite narrow. On either side of the road is about seven feet wide, and long, tall grass on either side of the road. So it's not something that you would walk on. I'm jogging down the road, and I see this. I can't describe it as anything but a specter floating toward me on the grassy side of the road. I'm thinking it had been a fresh rainfall. So there's nobody in their right mind would be walking in this tall grass on the side of the road.
This late at night.
Exactly. So I ran as fast as I possibly could because I felt that terror.
Holy shit.
I turned around at the end of the road to jog back, and this thing was still floating toward me on the side of the road. And I can't, again, I'm not doing a very good job of explaining it. What I'll do, I'll take some pictures, Adam, and what I'll do is I'll post them. I'll send them to you so you know what I'm talking about. But again, it was still floating toward me through this thick grass. And I'm thinking, I don't know what this is.
All, like a buzzing sound or any sort of hymn?
No, it was just this eerie, silent floating and that sort of faint rustling of the grass as it was making its way. It was just quite perverse. But yeah, I mean, there's quite a lot of that kind of phenomena that goes on.
You are very open. You're very connected of some sorts. Holy shit. You're very wow. I honestly, I'm not gonna lie, dude. I tried researching you a lot. I didn't see any sort of this paranormal side of you. That's a whole show in itself.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by it. No, I'm absolutely passionate about it, actually. Absolutely.
Oh, man. We're going to have you back. You better not block me after this. We're going to have you back.
I'd love it. I'd love to.
Wow. I know it's getting late. I'm going to steal another 5-10 minutes out of you. Man, we're talking to Jarred, a BLANCARD, right? Jarred BLANCARD.
That's correct.
One of the most informative people I've ever had as a guest. Amazing. I don't just say that. Actor. You must be an author. Do you do any? You must write? I don't know.
I do. I'm about to. I'm going to publish a book on the tarot. Probably, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on Amazon. I think I'm going to post it this weekend. As a matter of fact,
I'll share it.
I will. Well, thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. Yeah,
I want a signed copy though.
Absolutely.
Really?
I'm not a shameless self-promoter. Like I said, I engage in the reason why I got out of acting is because, as I said, after 5 years in Los Angeles, what I realized is that, it's a largely loveless city. And what I mean by that is that every relationship is transactional. You're a commodity. Your value is ever, ebbing and flowing.
And a lot of phonies too, huh? A lot of kiss asses and fakes, I think. Must be.
I ended my relationships with casting directors, and producers in a fairly emphatic way. By the end of it, I was just telling them to go fuck themselves. I had a meeting at I would have meetings at Disney, and I just thought, I'm not doing this. I'm not gonna kiss anyone's ass.
You're a rare commodity. Most people don't do that. Most people do anything for that buck.
Well, let me tell you, I didn't want to burn the bridge. I wanted to blow it up, and I succeeded. So
I got some horror movie B movie directors and shit under my wing that are from New England. You come up, I'd love to get you in a film, maybe a little B movie thing if you wouldn't mind.
No, I'd love it.
Cover some expenses or something here in Maine. Maybe have you kill me or something. That'd be great. Oh, man, good. Jared, this is awesome. You're fucking amazing, dude. I'm not just bullshitting you. This is great. I have no reason to bullshit you. I don't get paid enough to bullshit you. This is awesome. You're very informative. You're very good with your words, and I appreciate your time. I know you got a young kid at home, and your wife's probably waiting for you. So I'll still a couple more minutes at a time. I promise I'll let you go soon, but I got to have you back. Gotta have you back, Jared. This is amazing. That's a lot of fun. I can't wait to rewatch this. Everybody's saying hi. Sorry you guys are in chat. I'm not ignoring you. What's up? Fred's a UFO chaser from Maine. Work from MUFON. You believe in that? We talk about paranormal. You believe in UFOs and Bigfoot and all that jazz? The umbrella?
Absolutely. I think I'll tell you about an experience I had as a child. And it's actually connected to a paranormal event as well. When I was, I think I was about 2, my aunt was babysitting me, and but for us, the house was empty. And she heard me, she left the door open a crack, and she could hear me laughing and playing as if somebody was in the room with me. So she crept up to investigate. She peeked through the crack in the door, and she saw me sitting up in the crib, playing, laughing, talking as if somebody was in the crib with me.
You were alone.
I was completely alone. So she thought nothing of it. She thought, okay, well, children will tend to play with an imaginary friend, or they'll make fun by themselves. So she let it be. But it continued, and it got louder and a bit more vociferous. And what happened was she went to the door again, and she listened, and she recognized that I was speaking a language, and that it wasn't English, but it was some sort of Native American language. But she could tell it was a language.
2 years old?
Yeah. And what she found out afterwards, and no word of a lie, my friend, is that where these houses were built, they found out later that it was happening to a number of children in that area. It was reported in the newspaper, and they suspected that these, again, this sounds like something out of Poltergeist, but these houses were built on some sort of ancient Indian burial ground, or sacred land anyway.
I believe in that.
Yeah, and in the same house, I was awoken one night. I was maybe 2 years after that event, and my bedroom was 2 stories up, so there was no way that anyone could possibly get up there without a ladder. And the thing is that if anyone attempted to access the bedroom window with a ladder, everyone would have heard it. It would have been noisy.
Yeah.
And I was awoken out of a dead sleep, and I'm facing the window, and there's this absolutely intense light at the window, and a face at the window, but it was humanoid. It wasn't entirely human.
Salem's Lot.
Well, I wouldn't say it was a vampire, but what I would say is, looking back on it now, reflecting on it, after having watched innumerable documentaries on the subject, I would say it was probably an alien. It was a perfect porcelain face with very large, exaggerated black eyes. And I remember testing myself, thinking that perhaps I was having a dream or a nightmare. And no matter what I did, I was absolutely wide awake at the time. So yeah, I mean, quite a few experiences over the course of my lifetime to kind of motivate me into investigating these things. And again, it's also connected to, it's also connected to Stephen King as well, because again, the literature is infested with all these types of creatures. So
this fucking brain we're talking to, Thomas, incredible guest. Thomas runs the Salem Paracon, the Connecticut Con. He did before the Warrens did. He had all of Texas Chainsaw Massacre's first crew that's still alive. There's Grandpa. We got to get him there. We'll talk later this weekend when I'm sober, Thomas. But we're gonna get Jared to New England, whatever it takes. We're gonna get him to come to New England. You willing to come over the seas if the price is right? If you can get a flight or whatever.
Listen, my friend, I'll tell you what.
Bring the kid and wife too.
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you the fact of the matter is that I love meeting people, and it's also such an honor to be remembered for something you've done so very long ago. The fact of the matter is that what motivates me to travel around the UK currently with these conventions is not only meeting the people, but also going to these regions that I'd never get an opportunity to go to otherwise.
It's
So
a win-win, ain't it?
it is. I love to travel.
Bucks in your pocket. I mean, people
Yeah.
get your picture on there. Like, I'm not gonna lie, dude, not to fan out on you, but like I got Marlon's autograph, Gage, Pennywise,
Oh, that's
Texas
great, man.
Chainsaw, Hellraiser, chicks, obviously. But I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, man, I'm a geek when it comes to that shit, and I look up to
I
the
love it.
guys. And, Samai, she's an enchantress. She's with the dark arts in Connecticut. One of my clients, she makes sage. She got some salt. Check this out. I put it around my house because I think my house is haunted where I live.
Oh, lovely.
I
Excellent.
cry once a day. I don't know. The girl that left here, her husband beat her up and kicked her ass and cheated on her. And she left. She left everything here, dude. Her underwear, her dildo, glass of water in the fridge, her fridge. So she left this place so quick, dude. So I get vibes here. I'm not gonna lie. I burn sage. You believe in sage? You burn that stuff?
All that stuff. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Good man.
Major proponent. Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I'm gonna head out, but what I'd like to do is first and foremost, thank you for taking the time for having a chat with me. I think it's been extraordinary. I love your energy. I love your passion.
I'm too much, I know, but
no. I love your enthusiasm. I love your commitment to what you're doing. I was checking out your YouTube channel prior to joining you today, and I've got to say that I love the variety of guests that you have. Love it. Look at that.
Oh, my socks for Christmas, my girlfriend's daughter. Wait a minute, you really checked out my YouTube, brother?
Yeah, of course. I want to know who I'm talking to.
Oh man, that's cool. Yeah,
I'm
I've had
honored
Sadie Johnson on and shit. I've had other horror movie guests, and I'm not gonna lie, they're great. They're all great, but your shit, and we could talk a whole nother episode about paranormal and King. And I want to know you must be into Lovecraft. We'll get into that next time. Edgar Allan Poe.
Absolutely. They're my foundations, actually. So what I'll say is, if in future you'd like to engage me with Marlon, or if you'd like to talk about, again, the paranormal, supernatural, witchcraft, whatever it is, I'm your man. I'd love to be a part of any panel that you're hosting, my friend.
Dude, you're under oath and you're being recorded, so.
Awesome. You got it, Adam.
Hey, dude. Jared, thank you for your time. Give my best to the wife and kid, guys. Check out Jared. Go check out his page. You'll be an asshole because he'll block you, but check him out.